Okay, so in the first two parts, we studied about what will happen if the rights are denied. If rights are denied, then we become slaves. And second part, we studied about the importance of rights in a democracy. We saw that rights in democracy, they are integral part. They are um, one and the same. Okay, if the very talk of democracy talk of the basic human rights given to the citizens, because democracy is nothing but the participation of the people. Okay, now we will talk about rights, how it is in the constitution. So we may justify the needs for the rights both socially and morally. Rights are meaningful only if they have legal backing. What's meaning of legal backing? A right can be possible, meaningful only if it's legalized. For example, now we talked about abolishment of slave trade. Okay, this abolishment of slave trade was possible only because the ruling government was able to pass a legal sanction against slave trade, which means slave trade was considered to be illegal. Okay, by the government, they passed a law, they enacted the law. Okay, so in that way, any right can be meaningful only if it has a legal sanction. Okay, so we may speak against slave trade and so on, but if that act is not properly legalized, then we cannot do anything about it. Okay, if anything is legalized, then naturally what happens now, anyone who is doing what is not legal, what is illegal, they can be penalized. Okay, that is why we say that rights are meaningful only if they have a legal backing, only if they are legalized. This underlines the importance of legal recognition and sanction. So it's from here we talk about the legal recognition, sanction. We talk about constitution. We talk about courts that uphold the constitution, courts that uphold the legal matters of law. The form in which rights are recognized today was not conceived by any one individual or a country. So the set of rights that we have, okay, in the constitution, it is not simply done by one individual. No, it is not done by any one country alone. No. Okay, so Ambedkar with his group of people, men, they studied the rights and laws of all the countries, and then they compiled according to our own culture. Okay, and therefore it was not simply done within a day and then within few individuals. No. Okay, so now it was developed in one day. The form and scope of rights have evolved. It slowly developed. Okay, so so we are a kind of changing society. So every changes we face in our society, they come with our own issues. Okay, so those issues, when they are properly understood, when they are properly studied, then we know that these particular issues need legal backing. Okay, that's how we talk about human rights, the evolving nature of human rights, we could say. Okay, just look at the picture. You could see something here. Okay, so in this picture we see different colors. Okay, so this is what democracy is supposed to be, this is what our rights are supposed to be. Okay, now we have blue color, then green, and then red, and then saffron. Okay, so looking at these colors, it is these differences that make us more human being. It is these differences actually help us to enjoy democracy. If instead of these different beautiful colors, if you have got only one color, so only one color called red, or only one color called green, or only one color called blue, or only one color called violet, or only one color called saffron, it won't be very beautiful. That is the beauty of democracy. Democracy should be more colorful. Okay, right. For that, right is necessary. A right is considered a right only when it is given a legal status, as I told you. Okay, a right can be right only it is a legal status, which means it has got some provision to protect it in the law, in the constitution. If there is no legal sanction, people cannot demand the right, nor is the state bound to implement it. Okay, so if a right does not have any legal sanction, if it is not accepted in the constitution, if it is not accepted in the law, by the government, then people have no moral ground to support it. Okay, so for example, now an example is given. The Indian Parliament accorded legal sanction to the right to education in the year 2002 under the 86th Amendment to the Constitution. So even our constitutions are uh, every time it is updated, depending on the changing nature of the society. Okay, so as so under this 86th amendment to the constitution, the right to education was added in the year 2002, which means every child has got the right to education. Okay, it is a law. So anybody who is against this right to education are criminals. Okay, they are doing against the government, they are doing against the legal system. Okay, so only then did this right become a fundamental right of the citizens. Okay, right. Magna Carta, for example, how this was created. The legal recognition of rights has a history. So who founded this legal recognition of a history of rights? It all began from England 800 years ago in the year 2015, 1215. Okay, when King of England recognized the Charter of Rights, okay, when he accepted the Charter of Rights, okay, and called it as Magna Carta. So the King of England gave his subject barons, the aristocratic landlord, some rights through this charter. Okay, the prominent among them was freedom from arbitrary imprisonment, which means people cannot be simply arrested for no reason. Okay, and people cannot be simply levied upon the feudal dues, okay, by the king. Okay, so it can be done only by approval by the council of baron, the council of the ministers, we could say. Okay, so it is the first time in the human history that a set of rights were given legal sanction by the government, by the king. Okay, and another example we could find is American Bill of Rights in the year 1776. So in the year 1776, 13 colonies called themselves as United States of America. They declared independence from England and adopted a new constitution. Okay, a constitution is a book. It is a kind of Bible. It's a kind of sacred book for any country. And that sacred book has every law, every rights of a country, of its citizens. The constitution contained a bill of rights. So this American constitution contained a bill of rights. What it did, this bill of rights legally awarded several fundamental rights to the citizens. So in this bill of rights we have several fundamental rights that were given to the citizens of America. So prominent among them were the right to freedom, the right to equality, the right to property. So as per the Bill of Rights that is found in the Constitution of America, every citizen have got the right to freedom. No one can enslave them. Slavery is prohibited. Okay, they have got the right to equality. So everybody is equal. We cannot discriminate people based on their race, based on their color. Okay, so the sense of equality, the right to equality, and then the right to property. Everyone have got the right to home, to stay in a home. Okay, so it is that we find in American Bill of Rights. And then what happens in French Declaration of Rights? Okay, the people of France also issued a Declaration of Rights after the French Revolution. We studied, the 1st of August, 1789, the 11th of August, I think, that gave a legal sanction to several rights. Okay, so the French Revolution came out with the universal declaration of rights. Okay, so it gave set of rights to the citizens. Okay, so these rights include right to freedom, right to equality, right to property, right to protection against exploitation, etc. So most of the democratic countries in the world followed France's historical step, legally granting many rights to their citizens. Okay, so it is from here that many countries in the world, they started giving the legal sanction to the rights based on the example from France. The source for sanctioning such legal rights was generally their constitution. So in the constitution we find rights that are legally sanctioned. This is what we call as constitution. So constitution is a sacred book for every citizen, no matter what language he speaks, no matter what religion he follows. Okay, so constitution is a sacred book for everybody in the country. So these countries included provisions for granting rights in some form or the other in their constitution. Okay, and also this constitution, they are very open. Okay, they gave every provision that new rights can also be included in the constitution. Okay, so they gave that provision also. For example, fundamental rights are statutory and legally binding in Indian constitution. So fundamental rights are statutory and they are legally binding in the constitution. If the central government or any state government fails to extend these rights, then the citizens can register a case of non-compliance against the government in the High Court or Supreme Court. Okay, so if any government violates these basic rights in the constitution, a citizen can file a lawsuit against the government in the Supreme Court. Okay, right. So fundamental rights listed in the Indian constitution are the source of all other legal rights and also the basis of their legality. This means all other legal rights given in the constitutions are linked to the fundamental rights. Okay, so there are legal rights and fundamental rights. Okay, so in our constitution, these two rights are interlinked, legal rights and fundamental rights. Okay, the constitution lists 6 fundamental rights. So for us there are 6 fundamental rights. What are they? Do you know what these rights are? We learn about these fundamental rights in civics section of class 8. Last year you already studied, okay, these fundamental rights, okay, in class 8 in the civics section. Okay, right, now we shall discuss them one by one. Okay, read the following text. Which right do you associate? Okay, there are 6 fundamental rights you see here. Okay, maybe better you go through this. Okay, whether the prime minister or a farm worker in a remote village, the same law governs everybody, no individual is allowed. Okay, please read them. Okay, right. So from here, just a minute, maybe I will read it. So these are the fundamental rights you see here on page 206. Okay, kindly please read them and then associate with it. Please refer class 8th social science and please connect these ideas with them so that you will understand what right is involved. Okay, so the right of equality, the right to property, the right to free expression. Okay, so all these are all basic fundamental rights. Okay, so with that we complete how rights are supported by how rights make up the constitution, how this constitution is given legal basis. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so with that we move on to the fourth important part that talks about the institutions that protect the rights. Okay, so earlier we saw how these rights are given legal backing, legal sanction, and how in practicality these rights are being protected by the different institutions. Okay, so this we will see in the next part. Thank you.